What's up, everybody? I am Travesty.
I'm Cartoon Joe.
And Dan Schneider is a piece of shit.
Yes, he is.
Oh, such garbage.
We have to say allegedly. We don't have lawyers. I don't know.
Dan Schneider is allegedly a piece of shit.
The official stance of this Freakin show and the Freaknet Studios network.
And welcome back to another episode of this Freakin show. It is the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. The same weekly podcast that is brought to you by CarterComics.com. One-stop shop for all your comic needs, whether it be graded or raw. Carter Comics has got them all. All you gotta do is go to CarterComics.com. Fill your cart up with all their amazing comics. Discount code that shit with Freaknet, Freaknet. Save 10% on your entire order. Buy more than one comic. Automatically an additional 10% discount being added. Get that stuff sent to you absolutely free. Do that stuff now. Not only at their website of CarterComics.com, but if you scroll down their homepage, there's a link to their eBay account. Same shit. Discounts, free shipping, get it all. CarterComics.com. Get it going. Do it now. Joe, we mentioned we're going to talk mostly about Dan Schneider and him allegedly being a piece of shit here on this episode. I tried to kind of search online to see if I could find here's 20 things that prove Dan Schneider's a creepy fuck. I couldn't really find anything like that. What I did find is from BusinessInsider.com. A complete timeline of Nickelodeon producer Dan Schneider's controversies from toxic workplace allegations to his response to quiet on set. If you guys don't remember from our last episode, or if you had a chance to listen to the last episode, Quiet on the Set is a documentary that came out on Max that depicts a lot of the shady behind-the-scenes things that happened during the Dan Schneider run at Nickelodeon that pertained a lot to sexual innuendos into his kid-based TV shows, and also a lot of some of the people that worked for him that end up being total fucking creepers. Yeah. It's a fantastic documentary. If you have a chance to get on Max and watch it, I recommend it. It may ruin your childhood, but you know what? Sometimes things need to be ruined in order for people to understand how bad something truly is. So,
that's well put. I like that.
Yeah. That's how I felt about the documentary I watched on Firefest.
Yeah.
I heard it was bad, but watching the documentaries on it, it makes
so much worse. So much worse than anybody thought.
So bad. I guess we'll start back, and I'm just going to run through the timeline as here, and I'll read from the article again. This is from BusinessInsider.com. March 26th of 2018, Nickelodeon severed ties with Dan Schneider. Following many conversations together about next directions and future opportunities, Nickelodeon and our longtime creative partner Dan Schneider have agreed not to extend the current deal, Nickelodeon and Schneider said in a joint statement to Deadline. It was a natural time to part ways since Schneider's production company was wrapping up projects. The statement was added. However, Deadline reported that there was more to the story behind Schneider's departure. According to the publication, Schneider had well-documented temper issues for years. Production days were long, and photos that he posted online of female actors' feet caused concerns. Nickelodeon launched 2 internal investigations due to concerns about Schneider's behavior. After a 2013 investigation, Schneider started giving notes to actors on Sam and Kat from his office instead of directly interacting with them. Schneider told Quiet on Set producers that he wasn't barred from working with the actors, but simply chose to give notes from his office. So if you guys watched the documentary, I think one of the things that really got the ball rolling in all this was one of those writers, as we mentioned in the documentary, but also we mentioned here. He hired two female writers, and they ended up having to share the same salary when he would hire male writers afterwards who would get full pay themselves. That's a shitty thing to do to begin with.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. The one who eventually did get fired, I think finally said something to, was it the Screen Actors Guild or the union, the Actors Union?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm trying to remember I'm trying to remember all the documentary as we run through this. So some of my information may be a little bit off, but again, watch the documentary and might clarify some things. And luckily Joe's here and he loves correcting me, which I appreciate as well. And they finally had people started looking into some of the goofy things that he was doing, and one of the things that he would do would message people and, cause them to be self-deprecating in their own way, like messaging them to say, hey, stand up and yell in the office, I'm an idiot, or hey, stand up in the office and yell, I'm a slut. Shit like that. There was one thing that he did that seemed a little bit fucked up, was and if you haven't watched the documentary, I think a lot of the stuff will be like, spoilers in a way. I don't know if you can really technically spoil a documentary, but it's whatever. One of the writers who was new to the industry, who, got paid half of the fucking pay, because she had to split it with somebody, was offered, I think it was $300 to eat 2 pints of ice cream in like 30 minutes or some goofy shit.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And if you know anything about milk and drinking it in any kind of quick fashion, I remember working at Taco Bell in like '06. Like somebody bet me I couldn't drink a gallon of milk in like 45 minutes or something like that. I never did it because it just sounded like a bad fucking idea, and I'm glad I didn't do it because apparently if you do, you'll violently fucking throw up.
That's very like the scene in Anchorman where it's just milk is a bad choice.
Yeah. Yeah, so she did it. She threw up all over the place. She never got her money. And then I guess like a little time after that, like Snyder offered somebody money to do something else. I can't remember exactly what it was. And she made the joke about like, if I do it, would that, would you add it to my tab or something like that? And I guess he like went off on her about, her accusing him of not paying his bets and all this, or his bets and all that shit, which she never did say if she ever got the money or not, but, it's fucked up. I understand people having fun at work and everything, and if that was the worst thing he did, then it probably wouldn't be that bad of an idea. He wouldn't be as bad at everything as right now, but that seems like the smallest thing he ever fucking did. The least creepy fucking thing he ever did. The feet thing, they mentioned on Sam and Cat, which was a spinoff from iCarly, which when you watch iCarly or you watch Victorious, you watch Drake and Josh, there's a lot of feet jokes. A lot of,
way more feet jokes than I remember or like noticed. I guess I'm just not a feet guy.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of like, there was a video that came out years ago when somebody clipped together all the F words in like The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
And you never really realize how much the F word is said in The Big Lebowski until you watch a 6-minute long video of, just going like, fuck, fucking, so on and so forth. Basically the same way Sherry, describes, yeah, pretty much. You swear way too much. Like, I know, it happens. It's unintentional though. Just, get into what we talk about. But when you sit there and you collage together all the feet jokes, and again, iCarly, The Amanda Show, all that, and the thing is, like, it's not a Nickelodeon thing. It's the shows that Dan Schneider is producing. So it's like, common denominator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. Sorry, I'm thinking about all the different things that showing Ariana Grande, like with the potato and the water,
the water bottle upside down.
The water bottle upside down on the side of the bed, and
well, it's like in I can't remember what the name of the show was, but it was one that had Britney Spears' sister on it.
Yeah, Zoe
101.
There it is.
Yeah, where like they're like the two girls are sitting from across from each other, and the one girl's trying to bite into like a gooey pop or whatever the fuck it is, and the whole joke was supposed to shoot straight across that Jamie Lynn Spears' face. Yeah. You can't tell me that, those are just innocent fucking jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's one of those things. It's like we talked a little bit in the last episode, the Pickle Boy being pen pals with John Wayne Gacy. Like, one of these jokes, not a red flag. hundreds of these jokes, huge red flag.
Yeah.
Like a Russian military parade amount of red flags.
Yeah, and the thing is too is like when I asked you the question of like hey, would you hang Gacy's photo up? And you said yes, and I agree, I would too, but I would still have to ask the question, hey Joe, you good? Like this is, I mean, you okay, right? Like this isn't like an admirer of you. It's like, but nobody asked the fucking question. Everyone looked at it like, okay, well it is weird, but it's not weird enough to talk about. It's weird enough to fucking talk about. Like, anyways.
Yeah.
June 30th, 2021, Schneider reemerges after a 3-year hiatus via an interview with the New York Times. Schneider told the publication that he took a break after partnering with Nickelodeon to focus on back burner things like losing more than 100 pounds. In response to accusations that his show like iCarly and Victorious contained scenes with sexual innuendos and that he sexualized the young stars, Schneider said that the comedy was totally innocent. He denied mistreating the actors and defended his management style, saying that he has high standards. As for his relationships with the actors, Schneider said, I never interacted with actors in any way, texting or otherwise, that should make anyone uncomfortable. The producer also said that he had become more gentle at communicating and teased multiple projects in development, including an ambitious and very different TV show's pilot geared towards an adult audience. But nothing actually materialized, and Schneider mostly remained out of the spotlight. You want to start this one off, Joe?
Start what off?
You want to start this one off? His whole, there was nothing sexual about anything he did.
Oh, yeah. Nothing sexual at all. It's not sexual at all to have the women on set give you massages or to be in a hot tub with a preteen girl who is in a bikini, but you're fully dressed, so it's totally fine.
Yeah. It's like in his mind, even though he's denying it, I know for a fact in his mind he's like, hey, we're gonna push the boundary, but we're never gonna step over the line. It's like, motherfucker, you stepped over the fucking line.
Yeah. And once again, it's weird, right? Because a lot of these things on their own in isolation, not a huge deal. It's funny. I remember watching that episode of the Amanda Show where he's in the hot tub with her and he's fully dressed. I didn't think anything weird about it at the time because I was a child, and I thought it was funny that he was fully dressed. And so just that one instance, whatever, if it's just a bit. But then you combine it with, having people shout slut on set or naming one of your characters Penelope Taint and, denying that it means that. It's just scumbag behavior.
Yeah, especially when you have to say hey, we're going to call her Penelope Taint, but hey, everyone who works for me, don't tell Nickelodeon what it really is. And if they come up to you and ask you about it, you're just like, No. Her name's Penelope Taint because she tainted, Amanda or, whatever. It's like, I'm sorry, that first of all makes no sense. Because if you're Amanda Bynes' #1 fan, how are you going to taint her good name? It just,
right.
But you're already coming up for an excuse on why you did this in hopes of not being caught doing it. And then when you have multiple people who work for you, both child actors and actresses and their parents, and cameramen and writers and producers all saying the same thing, and you come back and say no, that never happened. I sent notes from my office because I chose to. Nobody who runs a fucking production company who's involved in the production of a show chooses to watch from their office. You want to be there to focus on it, but the problem is you can't because you have a lack of professionalism in order to do your fucking job. And I think a lot of it has to do, and I've made this joke a bunch of times when it comes to certain people in my life, is you were probably one of those kids who unfortunately was probably picked on in high school. Obviously, Dan Schneider, heavyset fucking dude, and I'm sure he's been that way his entire life. And I'm sure the mean kids in school picked on you. It happened. It happened to me. I got picked on a lot for being a heavyset dude.
Same.
But you're in his mind, it's just a theory, not saying it's fact, but just a theory. When you finally were able to grasp a little bit of power, in your mind, it's like, now it's my turn to be the guy. Because now people have to listen to what I have to say because I have the authority to change their lives forever by either firing them or making sure they never work in this business again. I think it's a power play that he fucking did, and he went on a power trip because of it. Again, it's just a theory, but I've seen it enough times where it may be really true. Because when you look at everything he's done, yelling at people, telling them what to do, and how, I'm in charge, I'm the boss. When you get somebody telling you that shit, you know there's a fucking problem. This is my company, I'm doing this, I'm the boss, you need to listen to me, or you could fucking get fired and you'll never work in our place. It's like, fuck you, dude. Like, absolutely fuck you.
You get shitty stepdads, assistant managers of like Walmart, like Dan Schneider, all same kind of guy.
Yeah.
Sorry. No offense to those people if you're actually good dudes. But if you're not a good person, like, sorry, you're a stereotype, I guess.
Yeah. Instead of trying to, instead of ending up like the people that made your life miserable, just remind yourself of who you were in those moments and try to prevent shit from that happening. Right. And it didn't sound like Dan Schneider was like that. It sounded like he was more focused on like, I want people to know I'm in charge, and I'm going to bother.
Nixon, like, you got that one kid who they loved, like the number one thing they loved doing was putting him in like a tight skin suit type of thing. And, and then the kid's Fear Factor, where they like cover him in peanut butter and then have dogs come out and lick him and stuff. And
creepy.
That's very
creepy.
Like, I don't, like, if you just put it on his face and he's like, like his head sticking out of a box or something and they come lick his face, weird, kind of uncomfortable, not as creepy as having dogs lick him from head to toe.
Yeah.
Or the Captain Nose thing that he was, where it's just like, those are obviously not noses, man.
Oh yeah. No, when you look at the shoulders, 100%, it's, you could have literally made it more nose-like, but you clearly did fucking not. And again, and it goes back to the whole like squirting that gel on Jamie Lynn's face, in that scene with, the nose boy or whatever, and he sneezed and the shit shot at the girl's fucking face. It's like, if you really want to make that humor, you guys, Nickelodeon, you have slime. If that kid sneezes at that girl, just throw an entire bucket of fucking slime at her. Not a fucking shot of goo that only hits her in the fucking eye and drips down her fucking face. Because clearly people are going to realize at a certain point, probably parents who are going to walk by and see their kid watch this, and the first thing they see is somebody get shot at a fucking person's face and drips down, like, what the fuck are you watching?
Yeah.
Insane.
I'm in favor of a little bit of adult humor in a kid's show, but it doesn't have to be overtly sexual. In fact, shouldn't be. It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be that,
the Ariana Grande upside down with the water bottle thing was a little bit fucking goofy.
Putting her own feet in her mouth was like, once again, in context, in isolation, it's weird, but it's not super uncomfortable. But then you look at all the other feet stuff and you're just like, this is not a silly joke. Yeah. This is somebody's like fetish.
Yeah.
And that's not cool.
August 9th, 2022, former actor Jeanette McCurdy writes candidly about her experience starring on Schneider's iCarly and Sam and Cat in her debut memoir. McCurdy's memoir, titled I'm Glad My Mom Died, nabbed the spot on the New York Times nonfiction bestseller list, not notification, nonfiction, and remained on the list for a whole year. The book was an immediate hit, sparking conversations about behind-the-scenes attentions at Nickelodeon. McCurdy, who portrayed Sam Puckett on iCarly and the spin-off series Sam and Cat, wrote about a powerful, controlling, and demanding person whom she referred to only as the creator. McCurdy said that this unnamed figure pressured her into drinking alcohol while underage, yelled at her while she was filming and kissing scene with her iCarly co-star Nathan Kress, and explicitly asked that bikinis be included in a wardrobe fitting. Well, obviously, people know who she was talking about, because based on the environment that Dan Schneider created, there's only one person who sits at the top, and that's Dan Schneider. Mm-hmm. The alcohol thing I've heard a lot about, as far as not only just Nickelodeon, but like a lot of child actors, like, being involved in underage drinking and shit. I'm actually really interested in reading her book to try to understand it all. And I know she had a falling out with her mom. I don't quite remember what the issue was with her mom and all that.
Yeah, it was, so the way they set these things up a lot of times is they don't have good protections for the kids. And so the parents get, the bulk of the money, directly to them instead of to the kids.
Gotcha.
Or they have control over the bank account or the trust or whatever. And so as a result, with McCurdy, she had examples of, not being able to go out to eat or whatever, but her mom would have a new fridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah. And, it's also the fact that people are getting involved in, it goes back to Pickle Boy. Before the allegations with Drake happened, before the incidents really occurred with Drake, he didn't like the fact that Drake's dad was trying to keep him away from him, keep Drake away from Pickle Boy. So he kept trying to push, telling Drake, you need to fire your dad as your manager. People in this industry, having their parents as their manager doesn't really work out well. It doesn't work out right, blah, 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 blah. And he ultimately got what he wanted. He got his mom to take over as manager and everything. But when you sit there and look at it too, you look at fucking, I can't remember that fucking dude. I don't know. I sent you a TikTok on Facebook. I don't know if you saw it before we started.
Oh, no, I didn't.
It's fucking hilarious. Pertaining to what we're talking about now. Where was I going with that? When you look at Pickle Boy, even when you look back at the way he acted around Leonardo DiCaprio on Family, I think it was Family Ties. I think that's what it was, or whatever. He was creepy fucking back then. Right. Very fucking creepy back then. And Drake's dad tried to do the best he could, but when you get fucking young, impressionable kids around these adults who are telling you that they're looking out for your best interest and everything, it's sometimes you don't really see it until it's fucking too late. Yeah. And
one of the things, as we're thinking about this, so there's Gravity Falls is a great kids show over on Disney. It's easily one of the top 10 shows I've ever watched. It's hilarious. It's tight. There's 2 seasons, so you can watch the whole thing very quickly. It's very bingeable, and they sneak in some good highbrow humor, some stuff that's for the adults who are watching, with their kids. And they do it without really, there's no sexual humor as far as I can remember. But there are, as part of the extras, if you bought the DVDs or whatever, and so some of these have made it to YouTube and stuff. The creator, Alex Hirsch, would go back and forth with the censors. They weren't allowed to make there once was a man from Kentucky joke. Because the censors were too worried that somebody would use that limerick's history and make an inappropriate joke with it or something. And as you're watching these with Alex Hirsch, you're like, man, this is too far. Why are the censors so ridiculous? Yeah. And then you hear about this stuff that Dan Schneider got away with, and you're like, that's why the censors are so ridiculous. This guy got away with so much, no one will ever be able to get away with that again.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's on the one hand, good that no one will ever get away with it again, but on the other hand, wow, you messed it up for everybody, dude.
Yeah, no, 100%. And when you get people like Dan Schneider who think it, gosh, he's just a fucking horrible human being, allegedly.
Yeah.
It's one rotten apple spoils the bunch. Isn't that what they say and everything? And
yep.
So when you get to a certain point of like, like this isn't really that bad. It's like, yeah, but we can't push that boundary anymore. Oh, it's because Dan Schneider wanted to show off fucking, preteens fucking feet and have some weird doctor rub their foot saying like, ooh, that feels really smooth and just fucking creepy and putting like teenagers in swimsuits that they probably shouldn't be fucking wearing. It's fucking, I hate this fucking dude so much. August 30th, 2022, Business Insider's Kate Taylor publishes an investigation with new allegations against Schneider and his tenure in Nickelodeon. Multiple writers, actors, and crew members who worked with Schneider spoke to who the fuck is this? BI, Business Insider, damn it. As part of the investigation, some former child actors shared positive comments about working with the producers, but one longtime writer described the environment fostered by Schneider as a maddening, disgusting, controlling little bubble. Alexa Nicholas, who starred as Nicole Bristow on Zoe 101, said that Schneider's set was traumatizing and alleged that the show creator yelled at her in a conference room with Nickelodeon executives when she was 13. Daniela Monet, who played Trina Vega on Victoria, said that the sitcom was typically very PC, funny, silly, friendly, chill, but there were moments that were sexualized. Writers said that they were subjected to cruel, long work days. Female staff writers who were sparse on Schneider's production accused him of being sexist. Business Insider's investigation brought to light a gender discrimination and hostile workplace claim filed by the Amanda Show staff writer Jenny Kilgan in 2000. Other employees accused Schneider of asking for massages from adult female colleagues. A person close to Schneider said that the producer regrets ever asking anyone and agrees it was not appropriate, even though it only happened in public settings. It still fucking happened. It's like, I'm sure that he's not sorry that he did it. I'm sorry that he's being called out for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually how it is, right?
Yeah. But yeah, no, dude, like I said, like when they collage all these fucking moments together, there was a lot of adult-based situations put in these child shows. And the thing is, it's like, if Dan Schneider wanted to put together a child fucking show and, do like, these adult humor things, there's Comedy Central. There was Spike TV at the time. You could go there and do this shit. It's like, that's fine.
You could probably do it. You'd probably get away with it on MTV or
VH1. Yeah. I mean, there's networks that you could go and do this stuff at. Not on a fucking network that's aimed towards preteens, adolescents, kids who want to just go out and just have some funny, goofy fucking comedy. There are times where, like, if you go back and watch SpongeBob, there were some really goofy things. I don't know if Dan Schneider was part of SpongeBob, but SpongeBob had a lot of weird, goofy things too.
Yeah.
But cartoon compared to reality is a little bit different.
Yeah, because like usually in a cartoon, you've got mostly adult voice actors doing this stuff. Adult voice actors, adult animators. Even if it's for kids, like they can sneak stuff in, and certainly as a kid, I didn't notice that the castles in Little Mermaid were dicks, or like the priest had a boner or whatever. I had no idea, didn't know it, wouldn't have known it until I was an adult.
Right.
Because like it's a sandcastle, and we've all built sandcastles. We've all taken and like done the tower of like wet sand or whatever that looks a lot like that. I don't know. Yeah.
When you like, cover yourself in sand and, you cover yourself in sand and like draw like a mermaid. You always put like the shells above.
And it's always hilarious to like do that to another friend who's like not comfortable with their body or whatever.
Yeah. See, let's use that. We'll use that for analogy. So, in a normal fucking world, I would cover Joe with sand, and I would form him into a mermaid, and I'd put seashells on his chest to be like a bikini top, and people would fucking laugh. If Dan Schneider covered fucking Joe in sand to make him a mermaid, he'd put nipples on his fucking chest because it's the same thing.
Yeah, and then he'd probably get like a thing of sunscreen and be like, I'm gonna sunscreen your boobs, mermaid.
Like, yeah. No, he needs a tan. He doesn't want to get sunburned. It's like, in his mind, same fucking thing. And guess what, people? It's not. It's fucking not. There's a scene in Friends where they go to like some like beach house, and a storm came through, and there was a bunch of sand and everything all over the place, and Joey fell asleep in the sand inside the house, and they covered him with sand, and Chandler and them like made fucking sand boobs on top of him, and he woke up and like looked at him like, what the fuck, and he kind of smiled and shit. That's the kind of humor that you would accept from an adult show, but that's the kind of humor that Dan Schneider would throw into fucking Nickelodeon. Yeah. You know, it's fucking goofy.
Yeah. And I like, it's such a weird thing, right? Because like, you don't want kids to be uncomfortable with sex necessarily, or and I don't mean it in like a creepy way, but you don't want them to be like ashamed of who they are or who they're becoming or anything like that. Like a really well handled show will handle these themes and do it in a way that is appropriate. To do it in an inappropriate way and completely ignore it because you're just playing it for uncomfortable laughs, like, not cool.
No.
You know?
It's one of those
it's
things.
wild.
It's so hard to fucking like really like depict like, because I don't want to say the wrong thing and make it sound weird, which Dan Schneider would, allegedly. The idea that, and again, being kids, when we watched it back in the day and everything, we knew nothing about it because sex wasn't really on our fucking minds, as children. So when you see someone get shot in the face with sunscreen or some goo pop or, a nose blown and everything, it's just like, they just got splattered with fucking shit. But when you become an adult and you look at that shit, it's like, it's not that they shot them in the face, but it's the consistency of what that fucking looks like. Like they tried to say like, hey, it's like somebody walked into a production or a prop, table and said, listen, okay, we're going to have this scene where this dude's going to fucking sneeze and shoot a loogie at this fucking person. And we need something that looks like, God, what's the word? And then the prop guy's like, you mean like a booger? And then Dan Schneider's like, no, semen. Like that. I want it to run down and shit. Because that's the kind of person this guy's coming off to be. Again, allegedly.
Well, the thing where the kids are like having a sugar eating contest, and then
dude, I didn't know that was fun. I didn't know that was
unbelievable.
Real shit.
I can't believe that made it onto the TV.
The fact that was real sugar and real coffee, that could fuck a kid up. And the fact that the girl was somehow there literally choking on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the fuck, man? I just, and the thing is, like, not all of, all that was bad. Some of the scenes were fucked up. I think Good Burger was okay. I can't remember anything bad. I'm sure there is something bad in Good Burger. I'm sure, if we went back and really watched it, you'd find it. But God, just to hear the kids talk about today, and then you get, I wish I remember the names. I don't remember the names of everybody, but I think it was the kid that had to dress up as like Noseboy or whatever this superhero was. And I think that might have been the same kid that had to get licked by the dog or whatever.
It was, yeah.
He implied a lot of the times that like a lot of the the white kids were treated different. And I fucking hate the fact that kids like that had to
go through that.
Yeah, well, really, and realize it at a young age, fuck Dan Schneider.
Yeah. And with this kid with Leon Frierson.
Okay.
I just looked him up. I don't know how to say his name. I assume it's Leon Frierson. Maybe other kids were put in skin tight suits and things, they weren't covered in the documentary, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like every opportunity they got to put him in something skin tight, they took it.
Yeah.
And I just think that's wild when you think about like just the connotations of it, right? Like the implications of you know, like where it's, I don't know how I want to say it. It's like putting a grown man in gray sweatpants.
Perfect.
You know?
Yes. But the thing too is I'm sure the kids, again, this could be in the documentary. I don't remember every single thing said in the documentary. But I know the kid didn't like the fact that he had to be put into those suits. If he said that to them, they should have took that into consideration and found an alternative. But I'm sure people are, again, Nickelodeon wasn't focused on the well-being of children, regardless of what they were saying in these. They wanted to make fucking money.
Yep.
Like they wanted to make the fucking money. So you probably have like a guy like Dan Schneider or any other producer, probably the creepy fucking dudes who are saying like, it's like, hey, listen, I know you don't want to do it and everything, but it's going to be really funny for the bid. And, it's like, this is how you make money. Sometimes you got to do what you don't. I hate when people say that shit. Sometimes you have to do what you don't like doing. Like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
That's
one of my favorite things on TikTok is this, there's a lady who's like an intimacy coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they have something similar for kids shows. Even though hopefully they're not being put in sexual situations like adults would be for that particular job. But like, no, here's what I want to say. There was one lady who was kind of, the way I would describe her, she looked like alternative, like goth or whatever. And she is talking about how kids should be so safe that they feel safe enough to say, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And that should be the case in every part of life, and especially in the film industry.
There's no reason, and I don't care what profession it is, what job it is, anything, there should be no situation where a 9-year-old is treated like an adult.
Yeah.
When you take on the responsibility of being a producer, a director, a writer, a cameraman, or whatever, of a child's show, and whether it be the Nickelodeon ones that we're talking about, or if it's Barney, or if it's, over on Disney, Nick Jr., whatever the fuck it is, you have a responsibility of taking care of those kids as if they are fucking kids. There should never be a point where if a parent doesn't want their kid away from them, there should never be a moment where you say, I need to talk to your kids alone. Like, fuck you do. Like, my child isn't old enough to make decisions for himself or herself. There's no way that they're going to sit in this room by themselves with you and you dictating what they say or what they do or how shit fucking works. You should be able to go up to a kid and say, listen, this is what I think we're going to do. This is the idea. Parents sitting right there. And the parent has the final say when it comes to the child. It's like, I'm sure if somebody said, Amanda and her parent is sitting right there, and Dan Schneider walked up and was like, hey, we're going to do this scene where we're going to put, 11-year-old Amanda in a 2-piece bikini inside a hot tub right next to this 40-year-old fucking heavyset dude, and we're just going to talk and have fun and blah, 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 blah. If the parents say no, you fucking move on. Okay, that didn't work. Let's figure something else out. How about we'll put Amanda in a scuba suit with goggles on and everything. So, she's doing that, and we'll have her interview another random kid who, for some reason, is also in a fucking scuba suit.
Right.
There's alternatives to doing a show, and you can still make it funny. And the fact that Dan Schneider tried to input himself into episodes from time to time because he couldn't have a successful acting career because he wasn't that fucking good to begin with. It's stupid. It's like a baseball coach who sucks at fucking baseball. Semi-pro. It's like Will Ferrell, who's not good at basketball, puts himself on the team because he owns the fucking team.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I couldn't make it as an actor. Well, fuck it. I guess I'll be a producer, and I'll just throw myself into skits from time to time. It's like, No, dude. It's like, if you have a child show, keep it a child show. And if you decide to put adults in these scenes, you find actors who have experience working with fucking children. You know, you don't put yourself in there and everything. The same fucking dude who wants your makeup artist or your writer or your hairstylist to come rub your fucking shoulders. You know, hire a fucking masseuse then. You know, hire somebody whose job is it to fucking do this. It's, God,
I'm with you. And I want you to know I'm taking it seriously. I'm laughing because this is like the 6th or 7th time you've used fucking as an adjective, but because it's right before children and the like structure of the sentence, it could be a verb. And it's amusing to me.
Well, fuck me.
Like, I don't think in context, there's no way anyone could misconstrue what you're saying.
Well, you know what, Joe? One day, we're going to be real fucking famous. We're going to be so fucking famous that this is going to be our profession, because that's the dream, right? And we're going to find trolls who are going to find those clips, and they're going to edit everything out. And they're like, they're going to be an article. Travis says on podcast, fucking children. Because that's going to fucking happen. And then I'm going to go on some fucking interview somewhere. It's like, yeah, it was said, it was taken out of context. It's just how it is. It's 2028. You know, obviously I have no implications on fucking children. I'm using it as Joe stated on the show, an adjective or whatever it is. And because that's the world we're living in. But but it's clarifying why you're laughing. I thought you were doing it because I was funny.
I thought it was funny, but
thanks, man. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. I try to be humorous. March 17th and 18th, 2024. Investigation Discovery releases a 4-part docuseries, Quiet on Set, across 2 nights, detailing the Dark Side of Nickelodeon. Quiet on Set was directed by Mary Robertson and Emma Schwartz and produced by Maxine Productions, a part of Sony Pictures television nonfiction. In association with Business Insider, BI's Taylor served as an executive producer. The docuseries included interviews with multiple crew members and former Nickelodeon stars, including Nicholas Double Dare host Mark Summers. Nicholas, Double Dare host Mark Summers, and All That cast members Giovanni Samuels and Brian Hearn. The Amanda Show writers Killian and Christy Stratton also participated in the docuseries and recalled splitting a salary when they were employed during season 1. Schneider stated that he had no control over salaries. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's not
yeah. I'm sure that, they're saying, here's the thing. He probably didn't have the control over dictating that they had to split a salary, but he probably had the control when they said, hey, you need to hire a writer. And they said, what if I can get 2 for the price of 1? They said, sure, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aside from issues over pay, the 2 female writers alleged that Snyder showed the staff pornography on his computer and played degrading pranks on employees. A spokesperson for Schneider told BI that Schneider is extremely sorry for his behavior that contributed to that environment, and he has grown a lot since then. That behavior is clearly wrong and not for the workplace, and certainly he would never act that way again. Yeah, he apologizes now because he got caught and being called out for it. But here's the thing. I don't care what day it is, what time it is. I don't care who is there and who isn't there. If your office is on the set of a child's TV show, when is it ever acceptable for pornography to be shown on your office computer? Exactly. It makes no sense why you would think like, oh, it's a Sunday morning or whatever the hell it was. These kids, there's no kids around. Hey, look at this. Come on now.
Even outside of a kid's show, how many times should you be doing that at work?
Quiet on Set also included footage of scenes from Nickelodeon shows that have been viewed as inappropriate, like Nicholas accidentally spraying Zoe 101 co-star Jamie Lynn Spears in the face with a goo pop. Everything that happened on the show Dan ran was carefully scrutinized by dozens of involved adults and approved by the network. A representative of Schneider told BI in a statement if there was any actual problem with the scenes that some people, now years later, are sexualizing, they would be taken down, but they are not. They are aired constantly all over the world today, still enjoyed by both kids and parents. The docuseries also detailed 2 predatory males who were employed at Nickelodeon and contributed to an unsafe environment for child actors. Production assistant Jason Handy and dialogue and actor coach Brian Peck. Pickle Boy. Handy, who described himself as a pedophile in a journal, this is what's fucked up, was sentenced to 6 years in prison on 2 felony counts and was 1 misdemeanor involving 2 girls. Should have gotten longer. I think he even said, I think when they were talking about his journal and shit and how he was writing stuff, that he was actually talking about like ways that he could like get away with like molesting children and shit.
I'm pretty sure you're right. In the documentary, they did talk about that.
Yeah. Peck was arrested in 2003 on 11 charges of sexual abuse related to an unnamed actor. 41 friends and family of Peck wrote letters supporting them and asking the judge for leniency in a case. Some of these letters were written by notable celebrities, including Alan Thicke, James Marsden, and the Boy Meets World stars Will Friedle and Ryder Strong. The letters were sealed until Maxine Productions, one of the docuseries producers, successfully petitioned the court to unseal them in 2023. I'll pause right there for a minute. I tried to freeze frame it during the series to see if I could read any parts of the letters of who was sent and everything, and I don't fault anyone for coming to his aid at that time.
If you don't know or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know after this is all said and done, I was kind of looking up because I do listen to Pod Meets World that has Daniel Fishel, Ryder Strong, and Will Friedle on it. I haven't listened to an episode in probably a few months because I like to wait for them to like fill up and I can binge them to work on a daily basis. But I was just curious to see if like Ryder Strong and Will Friedle had anything to say about any of the stuff that came out, just to see if there was a response, because obviously I think Drake Bell called them out or something about it, and I was just wondering if there was any kind of response for them.
Yeah.
I didn't find any, and if they mentioned it on Pod Meets World, I haven't heard it yet, and I don't know when I ever will, but when you sit there and if you do freeze it and you look at the letters and everything, like a lot of people say is like you know, he's never shown signs of this, you know, it's hard to believe that this happened, blah blah blah. I can understand people putting stuff in there like that. The ones I don't agree with, that question, I don't know the exact names of the persons who did it and stuff, but when you like somebody wrote a letter and it stated in the letter that if he did this, he was probably coerced to do it, or he was enticed to do it. Like, it sounded like victim blaming to me. Like, somebody put that in there, or I think somebody also wrote, like, if he did do this, then, you know, I'm sure he's sorry for what he did. And it kind of goes back to the whole, like, I'm sure he's sorry that he got caught, but I mean, those are the statements in the letters I don't agree with, that I don't think are okay to say. It's like, oh, he must have been coerced to do it. Like, I'm sorry, but if he was fucking, you know, pressured by a teenager to have sex with him, you could be an adult and say no.
Yeah.
Fucking
as
walk
an adult,
away.
it's actually your job.
Yeah.
Is to say no. And it doesn't matter if you are close to the kid, not close to the kid, know them well, don't know them well, related, unrelated. You're the adult. Your job is to say no.
Yep. So I don't think a lot of those who wrote the letters, I know one of the women who did, they mentioned on the documentary that, you know, once she realized what did happen, because I think all the letters were really released following what happened, because I think some of the people who wrote the letters weren't the same people who were at the trial. They were just going based on their previous experiences with the guy on, you know, previous sets.
Contacts. Yeah.
But I know there was one woman who, like, after she heard what he did and after what happened, she stated she regrets ever writing the letter and everything, that it's not the same guy that she knew. And I'm sure for a lot of these guys that he's not the same guy that he fucking knew. That isn't the same guy that they we're working on sets for. And it's probably because he did a really good job for a very long time, holding in these feelings that he fucking has. And he probably never had a situation like he had with Drake Bell when, he probably never had a kid stay over at the house.
Right, he never got lucky enough to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too is that, abusers are very good. I don't know if it's a conscious thing. I don't know if it's a subconscious thing, but they seem to be very good at, treating the people that they're not abusing really well.
Mm-hmm.
They're always nice to them. They're always friendly. Everything is above board. And so when a kid gets into a situation like this, it's a lot easier to believe the adult because one, they're the adult, and two, like, I know that guy. He would never do that, right? Just like in the letters that were sent.
Pickle Boy, look at John Wayne Gacy. How many fucking dudes did he murder before he got caught because he was dressing up as a clown for sick kids at hospitals? He was a Chamberlain or whatever the hell those fucking people are, the leader of the HOA or so. He was some leader of something. Model citizen, BTK killer. He was a cop, a model citizen, but he killed people. It's like, psychopaths like this are able to kind of Ted Bundy. Cute looking fucking dude, attractive fucking man, just, very suave, very, he was able to draw people in. It's like, Dahmer, not so much. Clearly, if I lived next to that dude, I'd think he was a murderer.
Yeah.
100%. But there are people who are capable of getting away with this because they have the ability to chameleon themselves, into society and being like, hey, because how many times do you like hear an interview where somebody talks about like, somebody who just murdered somebody and they're like, he was always a good guy. He was in my, he went to my church. We were on the same bowling team. We played softball together. I grabbed a beer with him after work. I'd never think he would do anything like this. It's nutty. It's absolutely fucking nutty. And the weirdest part about this, because I don't know what the sentences really were and shit like that, but the handy guy got, 6 years, I said?
Oh, yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah, and as far as they know, he never actually did anything to anybody. He had people's underwears in Ziploc bags and shit like that, which is really fucked up, and he sent, dick pics to some kids, which is also fucked up. But Peck did something to somebody. And he ended up 6 years. Josh Peck was arrested in 2003. I think I scrolled down.
16 months.
Here we go, yeah. On October 2004, Peck was sentenced to 16 months in jail and ordered to register as a sex offender. Quiet on Set revealed that Drake Bell was the actor who was sexually abused by Peck when he was 15 years old. In Quiet on the Set and in an interview with BI, Bell said that he struggled with processing his experiences after Peck's arrest, but Schneider checked in on him and offered support at the time and in the years that followed. Bell, who began acting when he was 5 years old, described Nickelodeon as a factory that treated child actors as expendable, which is true because, again, we talk about the one girl who got replaced by Amanda Bynes, who was supposed to get her own show and be like the next thing, and once Amanda Bynes came around, somebody called her mom and said, we need your daughter to lose weight because we already have a fat actress. We don't need 2 of them. That's on the documentary. That shit's true. Who gives a fuck what a kid fucking looks like, fat or not, who gives a shit, but yeah, it's nice. They didn't need one. They found somebody else. They found somebody in, quote unquote better. Let's move on. In a statement, Nickelodeon said that it had adopted numerous safeguards over the years to help ensure we are living up to our high standards and the expectation of the audience. I think that's what they put at the end of every single episode in this series.
Yep.
Bell said that he turned to self-destructive habits, but going to therapy and rehab recently has been instrumental in keeping him from going down a dark path. After the release of the docuseries, Bell defended his Drake and Josh co-star Josh Peck after he was criticized for not commenting publicly about the doc or Bell. In a video posted on TikTok, Bell said that Peck reached out to talk to me and help me work through this, and has been really, really great. Peck wrote a message on Instagram the following day saying that he took a few days to process quiet on set. He also said that he contacted Bell privately and supported the people who spoke out about his experiences at Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Which really,
and by the way, in case you didn't say it, Josh Peck, unrelated to Brian Peck.
You know what? I when I first heard Brian Peck, I was really fucking confused because I forgot what Josh Peck's first name was. I'm like, hold on a second, what? But yes, completely unrelated. And honestly, like, you know, like, I don't think no one should ever have to have gone after Josh Peck and not reaching out to Drake Bell because, you know, again, they said he reached out to him in private. Like, you don't fucking know. Don't attack people for not doing anything, you know, immediately. Okay. You know, and if, you know, who knows, maybe Josh Peck and Drake Bell had a falling out where they don't really talk anymore, you know? Or maybe, you know, Josh Peck, you know, went through the same fucking shit and now this is kind of like rehashing everything, you know? But at the same time, we don't know what Josh Peck knows, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
March
19th, 2024, Schneider releases a nearly 20-minute video in which he addresses allegations in the Docuseries and apologizes for past behavior. So we're looking at, what, 4 days ago?
Yeah.
Interesting. After the Docuseries... What's up?
I haven't seen that. I didn't even know it existed.
There's actually a clip in here for it. I don't know if I'd never fucking watch it. Fucking...
Yeah, no,
he looks too much like Ted Lasso right now, and I'm not a big fan of that. After the docuseries was released in its entirety, Schneider sat down for an interview with, I guess it's supposed to be Boogle, but it's B, capital B, lowercase O, capital G, exclamation point E.
Maybe Boogie?
Maybe. Interview with Boogie, a.k.a. Bobby Bowman, who played groovy smoothie manager Tebow on iCarly. I do remember that guy. Okay. Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult, Schneider said, facing my past behavior, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology. I think you owe a lot of fucking people an apology, bro. Schneider said that the behavior he had exhibited back then wouldn't happen now. He admitted that the on-set messages were wrong and that he'd never do it today. I apologize to anybody that I have put in that situation, he said. Additionally, I apologize to the people who were walking around Video Village or wherever they happened because there were lots of people that were witness to who also may have felt uncomfortable. So I owe them an apology as well. Regarding allegations about Schneider's writer's room, the producer said, no writer should ever feel uncomfortable in any writing room, ever. Agreed. He said that it's normal for inappropriate jokes or topics to come up in those settings, but he's embarrassed that he participated in it and made practical jokes that went too far. I can understand jokes and shit happening. I do it with Nubby and Pac-Man all the time, or like, I'll poke fun at Pac-Man on the podcast, and once in a while, I will poke fun at, Pac-Man, in like group chats and stuff. Actually, when Dizzle J came back to JFW and I added them into our group chat, me, Nubby, and Pac-Man, we'll still kind of play off like the characters and stuff in the chat. And DJ didn't know that. DJ actually messaged me and he's just like, dude, what the fuck is their problem? Like, it's all fun, man. Like, don't worry. Because they know that what we're doing isn't fucking real. It's just us goofing around and having...
Yeah, if you're in on the joke, that's part of what makes it a practical joke.
But there's a line you gotta cross, that you don't cross when it comes to that shit, Like, it's okay to have a fun workplace, but if I ever had a time where my boss told me to stand up and yell fucking whore, in a work environment, it's not fucking happening. That's your line, bud. Like, that's your fucking line,
Yeah, it's real weird. So I was listening to, there's those, like, Reddit post TikTok things, and one of them I was listening to the other day was the family had a practical joke of, like, they always stole this person's chair if they got up to, like, go to the bathroom or something, right? Mm-hmm. And it got to the point where, like, after talking to the family, after, being upset for years, the person just started bringing their own chair. And, like, it was a folding chair so that if they got up, they could fold the chair and bring it with them. into the bathroom if they wanted to, and or whatever, into the kitchen to grab a snack, and then come back and they'd have their chair still. And they brought it to every family event and stuff. Well, one time they did finally, they thought the chair was safe, and so they left it, went to the bathroom. When they came back, someone was sitting, or the family had taken and hidden the chair. And when they finally found the chair, they found out that the chair was damaged, so that you couldn't sit in it anymore. And it led to this whole thing where it was just this is totally ridiculous. I brought this to solve the problem of you all not being able to leave me alone. And you still couldn't respect that enough. And it escalated to the point where they ended up getting a new chair. And then later on, as another practical joke, the brother-in-law who originally broke the chair got his nephew, or got the original poster's nephew to take the chair. And as things escalated, the brother-in-law ended up taking the chair and throwing it through someone's window. So now he had to pay for the window and on top of the chair, right? And it escalated to the point where they, as a family, this thing escapes Reddit and people are reading it, and the family finally gets wind of it, and they're reading all the comments and realizing, oh man, we're in the wrong.
Yeah.
And now so it's like this feeling like the practical jokes are over or whatever, but I just think it's, it's incredible that this person for years told you this is too far and you wouldn't listen. And then you got exposed on Reddit and now you're ready to listen. And
now you missed too far. Now you missed too far.
Yeah.
When asked about jokes on his show that are viewed as inappropriate, Schneider insisted that they were written for a kid audience. Now we have some adults looking back at them 20 years later through their lens, and they're looking at them and they're saying, I don't think that's appropriate for a kid's show. He said, I have no problem with that. If that's how anyone feels, let's cut those jokes out of the show, just like I would have done 20 years ago. Schneider acknowledged that there are people who didn't have a positive experience working with him. He chalked up his attitude to the pressures of doing 40 or more episodes per year. Fucking, I do 80 episodes of podcasts a year, and I'm fine. Fuck this, dude. And this shit's only 30 minutes long. Oh, God. He said that watching Quiet on Set made him want to call some of the people who spoke out and apologized for the part he played in their negative experiences. He also said that there are plenty of things he'd do differently. If you worked for Schneider back then, and he called you now to apologize, would you want him to?
You know what? I don't know. A part of me would, because I feel like I would be owed it, Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, if you're only apologizing because you got caught, then I don't want it.
Yeah.
If you genuinely feel bad because somehow you didn't realize that what you were doing was wrong, that's a different conversation maybe. But I don't know, man. At a certain point, just leave me alone. You messed up my childhood. I don't need you in my life.
The main thing I would change is how I treat people, everyone. He said, I definitely at times didn't give people the best of me. I didn't show enough patience. I could be cocky and definitely overambitious and sometimes just straight up rude and obnoxious. I'm so sorry that I ever was. I wish I could go back to earlier years of my career and bring the growth and experience I have now and just do a better job, he added. Nicholas slammed Schneider's apology in a reaction video uploaded on YouTube on Tuesday. When someone doesn't personally come to you and apologize, it's not an apology, she said.
That's the other thing. I would not release an apology video. I would go apologize to the people directly if I actually felt bad for what I did. This is just damage control.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of in, as weird as it is, I'm the opposite thought. I would be too worried about calling somebody who is probably traumatized by my actions that I would want to make a public apology so everyone, first off, I'm sure he did so everyone knows for the publicity, but I would want to do it to where if you feel the need to want to listen to it, you can listen to it. Actually, maybe just an email. Maybe just send out an email.
Yeah. You know? Or like reach out through your lawyer or whatever.
Yeah. Let's see. When somebody doesn't apologize personally to apologize, it's not an actual apology. I do kind of agree with that aspect as well. I mean, taking the easy value out and doing the video thing. I guess I can look at both ends of it. I can look at both sides and find a positive and negative in both ways. If you hear about it through other people, it's not really an apology, right? An apology is to the person that you hurt. That's what an apology is for. I would have appreciated if Dan apologized directly to me, she said. He's a bully, a meanie, and impacted my life, right? Where's the phone call of an apology? How come you can do all of this? How can everyone do, oh my God, how come you can do all of this? How can everyone do all of this but not reach out to the person that they hurt?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of the article. I can understand where she's coming from. Like I said, I can see the pros and cons of both ways of doing it, the personal phone call or the overall public apology, because it's like you don't know how they were affected. And if I was Dan Schneider and I was a piece of shit, allegedly, and I did all this shit back in the day, and there's this documentary of all these people talking about how big of a piece of shit, allegedly, I am. It's like, if I call that person up right now, is that going to traumatize them? Is that going to rehash some fucking feelings? Like, will it help or hurt these people? And it's like, maybe like you said, going through an attorney, like, hey, listen, I want to call your client and I want to apologize, but I want to know if that's going to be okay first. So when you can you reach out to them and say, hey, Dan Schneider got a hold of me. He says he wants to call and publicly apologize to you. Do you want him to or not? And at that time, if they say, you know what, yes, I would like him to do that, then you go call Dan Schneider. Yes, they're expecting your call, or I don't want to hear from that motherfucker. Like, he doesn't want to hear from you. And it's like, okay, well, I am truly sorry, but I understand. I think that may be the best way to go about it. I think you said go through a representative, like a business manager, a lawyer, a representative. I think that's probably the best route to go through. I think that would be the best route. Not a public apology, not calling them directly without any like notice. I think an advance notice from an agent or a lawyer. I think that'd probably be the best route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hope to God that Nickelodeon does have this shit in place now, so things like this can never happen again, because it sucks. You hear a lot of shady shit that happens to adults. Like, you go back and look at like what happened to the Judy Garland when she played the Wizard of Oz.
Right.
Adults back then, the fact that could happen to kids in the fucking 90s is horrifying to think about. And it's insane, like, when everyone, I mean, I'm glad that everyone has the same feeling that this is absolutely disgusting, and I'm sorry that this ruins fucking everyone's childhood, and it sucks that it ruined mine in a way, because that shit, I mean, that's what I grew up on, and I hate the fact that, realizing, like, everything behind the scenes now, it's way more than what it really was.
Right. Well, and even just like, not even just, but like on top of that, like the way that it rolls downhill, right? Like the way that the last episode kind of ended by saying, like, look, partially because of how messed up his childhood was, Drake Bell ends up messaging inappropriate things to minors as well, right? Mm-hmm. But what he does that I think is good and that I do give him props for is when he realizes what he's doing, he goes and he gets help for it. He goes to rehab, he quits whatever drugs he's on, whatever alcohol he's drinking, and he says, like, man, I messed up because I am messed up. And I think he took responsibility for his actions, but I don't think that happens if if he didn't have to live for a couple of decades dealing with the fallout of this emotionally, mentally, physically, in therapy and stuff, he probably doesn't end up messaging underage people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Thank goodness it stated messaging, as far as we know.
Yeah. I know it's never...
Not to let him off the hook. You're responsible for what you do, but...
Yeah. I know, and obviously you can't... no one can ever sit there and say, like, well, I did this because this what happened to me. It's like, two wrongs don't make it fucking right. To admit guilt and better yourself, I can respect that.
Right.
But nobody should ever message a fucking minor if they're a fucking adult unless you're related.
1000%. Yeah.
Unless you're related and you're wondering what time soccer game's at so you could drink a beer while watching them fucking play next to your fucking siblings and shit. Which I told Sherry and Ashley, I'm like, you let me know when your kids are fucking in soccer because I'm coming to their fucking games as the biggest fucking fan. I will face paint fucking everything and just fucking like American flag it all over the fun. It's gonna be fucking weird, but no. And honestly, that's one of that's my biggest fear when it comes to fucking online dating. It's like I don't know who I'm fucking really messaging. It's fucking terrifying as fuck. That's why like every time I do start talking to somebody and everything, I just like halfway through I'm like, who knows these people are really who they are and shit like that. It's especially when people are like using like studio enhanced fucking professional photos. Like unless you're showing me a fucking selfie of yourself in your dirty ass fucking room through a fucking like thumbprint smeared fucking lens on your cell phone, I really can't trust you are who you are. Like absolutely fucking not.
Mm-hmm.
I have no sympathy for Dan Schneider. Fuck that dude. You can say you're better until you're blue in the fucking face. It won't mean shit to me. I think what you did is absolutely fucking disgusting, and I think deep down you had the ability to change it back in the day, and you didn't. So That's on you. You can live with it. And I pray to fucking God that nobody gives him another opportunity to get onto another set to prove that he's different. Because I think I also heard that fucking Peck guy, like after he got out of prison and shit, like he found another job somewhere else.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, at a certain point, like, you had your chance and you blew it, and, you've served your time from a legal perspective or whatever, and, even if you've actually, let's say he got like 20, 30 years instead of 16 months, and that is really serving your time at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're still not welcome in Hollywood anymore.
No.
Like, you want to get a job at Starbucks? Cool. You want to work construction? Fine. Whatever.
If you,
hey, I know a place that's hiring where you can work crazy hours and climb 60 feet into the air with 75 pounds on your back, and they're really looking for people in your age category.
We are hiring anyone who's not a convicted felon. We unfortunately, we legally cannot hire convicted felons.
Really?
Yeah. Well, they need to pass a government background check.
Huh.
Yeah, they need credentials. And that's one thing that's rough too, because sometimes you do get applicants and everything, but because you need to be able to hold government credentials in order to do our job, if you can't pass that background check, you can't be employed.
I feel like felons that'd be a really good job for them.
People who want to turn their life around, like I'm all about fucking giving them opportunities. Plus, you get fucking tax credits and shit when you do it. So in a selfish way, I think that's awesome. But no, if you are a convicted Peck, being a convicted sex offender and everything, you need to find a job that you are constantly supervised around customers, or find something that you're nowhere near a fucking customer. You're sitting in a cubicle far away from other fucking people. Not on a set where somebody may bring their fucking children around and shit, where these fucking weird temptations that you can't get over can fucking entice you to do your shit again. It's like there are a lot of things I can forgive a lot of people do, but when it comes to fucking children and women, that I can never get over that shit. That's just, it's heartbreaking. Like, what? When I was watching the documentary and everything, like I felt really choked up about a lot of the conversations people were having about, how, they were taken advantage of as children, taken advantage of as women. I'm like, that fucking sucks. It sucks. And then granted, yes, 30 years ago was a different fucking time when 25, I guess, whatever the hell it was, years ago was a different time, and, people aren't as realizing of situations that they are now. Do I think something like this could happen now? Yes. But I don't think to the extreme. I think there would be enough people who are willing to step up and say something. And, true. Like, I think no matter what, whether it's the late '90s or the early 2020s, I think there's always somebody who could go up to somebody and say, "Listen, if you refuse to do this, there's no guarantee you'll have a job in this fucking industry. And if this is your livelihood, then what the fuck do you do?" But as long as you have the support of the people behind you, then you know what? Maybe it's a lot easier to be able to step up and say absolutely fucking not. Like like a background actor who bases their jobs and stuff on word of mouth. Like, hey, we had this guy in the back reading the fucking book and he did good. We had this guy order a cup of coffee and he did fucking solid. But if somebody fucking tries to persuade them to do some shit they're not comfortable with and somebody threatens them with their fucking job, then maybe the fucking star of the TV show needs to know about that and maybe they'll be willing to step up and say, hey, absolutely fucking not. Could you imagine being that guy who's like an extra or a backseat actor and stuff like that, being, trying to be coerced into doing something you don't want to do, and let's say you're on the, I don't know, what's a fucking very popular fucking TV show? Let's go with, what's a famous fucking TV show? What's a very popular one that's going today?
The Bear. I don't know.
What the fuck is The Bear?
I hear about The Bear all the time. It's a show about a cook in Chicago. Opens a restaurant. It's got one of the kids from Shameless grew up and he's the actor.
Yeah. I tried watching it, I couldn't get into it. But let's say a backstage actor on that show was being coerced to do something, and that backstage actor, happened to go up to, the main character of The Bear. I can't remember his fucking name, but solid fucking actor. I love that dude. He's a great actor. I just can't get into that show. And he goes up to us like, hey man, I don't know if you can help me with this or not, but that fucking dude wants me to fucking, do something I'm not comfortable with, and he's threatening my job for it. And that main actor walks up to that guy and says, you either quit or I'm fucking gone because what you want this person to do is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to cancel an entire fucking show just because of one fucking dude trying to coerce them into something? Fuck that.
Right.
How many directors and executive producers are out there in the world willing to fucking have their opportunity? Because you can replace somebody behind a camera. It's really difficult to replace somebody in front of a camera without either fucking up the entire show or canceling it altogether.
Right.
That's what it is. The people who have a voice need to be able to step up and be willing to be that voice.
Mm-hmm.
We could do it. I don't think we're big enough to fucking do it, but you know what? Why the fuck not?
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. So, Joe, since we're recording the same day, I don't need to worry about what you're drinking because I'm assuming you're drinking the same thing you drank on the last episode, just like I
sure am.
Off my Pepsi. But do you have anything else you're freaking thinking about, or are we still focused on what we talked about here today?
What else am I freaking thinking about? No, that's probably the big one. That's the only real new thing I did this week.
Yeah. Again, if you guys haven't seen it yet, make sure you go check it out. Yeah, go ahead.
I do have something. It's a little sad, and almost no one in the audience will know about it. But right at the beginning of the show, I found out our grandpa's good buddy's friend just passed away, Mike Cazzo. So to the Cazzo family.
Is that the neighbor that lived behind him?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, across the street, yeah.
Oh, okay. I know this. Maybe okay. I'm trying to think of an uncle that lives on. Okay. Anyways, okay.
Yeah, Mike and Shirley. We used to do the cigar walk with them. Yeah, he passed away last night. So.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Found out literally as the show started. I was like, yeah. So that's on my mind. So prayers to the Cazzo family. You're in our thoughts, and guys, sorry for your loss, man. It's the Caz was a cool dude. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. What about you? Same, not same, but anything other than quiet on set?
I mean, that's the big focus right now, but also, obviously, we're recording this on Saturday, but it's not going to be coming out for a few days, but I got the big Mr. Bill Classic I'm working tonight. I'm still recovering from being sick, so I'm hoping I can be as energetic as I can up on, commentary and everything, but as much as I appreciate everything that SCW and CSW and Power are doing to pay tribute to a Midwest independent wrestling legend like Mr. Bill, I really just want to get in, get my work done, and head home. Like, I know there's an after party afterwards that Pac-Man and his buddy, Gabagool are going to go to that I was thinking about going to, but I really just want to fucking get back home and go to bed. I mean, as we're recording, I got to fucking be up there in like 3 hours, and even then I'm just like, God, I'm probably going to push it off until like 4 o'clock as much as possible, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to do it. I just want to get healthier and better. And like I said, I just want to get in there, get my stuff done, pray to God it doesn't go too late and I can head home. Luckily, it's not that far. It's like 20 minutes from home, so it's not that bad of a drive back. But yeah, so that's about it. Guys, make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever, just by searching This Freakin' Show. And catch our audio wherever you listen to audio podcasts, and you can check out the video podcast of this on our YouTube channel at Freakin' Studios. Make sure you check that out, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That's all I got, guys. As always, I am Travesty.
I'm Cartoon Joe.
And thank you for listening to another episode of This Freakin' Show. I'm out.